always from the heart of the city, and now on demand 24/7 on the CHFI website. This is the soundtrack to another wedding. And I'm Don Jackson with lovers and other strangers around the world on the internet. Marilyn Gardner in the Christian Science Monitor wrote, and I quote, "Whether acknowledged or not, the taste for established rules of behavior persists, along with a deeper hunger for order. Anybody who doubts this is left to explain why the same generation that dresses down for work and emails wedding acceptances has fallen in love with history's most persuasive novelist of manners, Jane Austen." Unquote. Have we really gotten to the point where we are emailing our RSVPs for weddings? I guess we have. This hour, you're invited to a wedding, along with lovers and other strangers, and CHFI.com. The Beach Boys and Wouldn't It Be Nice and Carly Simon, and That's the Way I've Always Heard It Should Be. A couple of classic songs for a classic invitation to a wedding. Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Speaking of a different time, Wolf von Eckhart, the author in Time magazine, wrote, "Some of a city's diversity, historic continuity, and character is destroyed when old buildings are razed. The historic significance of architectural styles is as indisputable as the historic events surrounding them. After all, we do not throw out the wedding pictures of our parents because their dress now looks funny, or because the pictures are not quite so wonderful as we once thought they were." Unquote. Who could ever think of throwing out any wedding memorabilia from the past? My parents' generation saved wedding invitations and so much more in order to keep the memories fresh of the special milestones along the way in their lives. Lovers and Other Strangers from CHFI.com. Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Amy Sky and I Will Take Care of You and the Temptations and Just My Imagination. Ellen Goodman from the Washington Post Writers Group wrote, "Young people, first-timers if you will, take on marriage as if it were a plot of land. With luck, they build something new and welcoming. With luck, they always feel at home with each other. But second-timers are natural renovators. They know the structure of marriage enough to be wary of the ways the foundation weakens. They know it enough to seek comfort again in its shelter and support. More than that, they have learned something about balancing a respect for each other's past with a need to create something that will be theirs." Lovers and Other Strangers from CHFI.com. Lovers and Other Strangers from CHFI.com. Jim Brickman with Michelle Wright and Your Love and Bryan Adams. And Why Do You Have to Be So Hard to Love? Our wedding days are filled with ritual and ceremony. It's a wonderful send-off to what we hope will be many happy years together. But once the honeymoon is over, reality sets in. But that doesn't always have to be a rude awakening. James L. Framo, in Explorations in Marital and Family Therapy, published by Springer Publishing Company, wrote, People do not marry people, not real ones, anyway. They marry what they think the person is. They marry illusions and images. The exciting adventure of marriage is finding out who the partner really is. Unquote. Another reason why I call this program Lovers and Other Strangers. This is CHFI.com. Lovers and Other Strangers from CHFI.com. John Lennon with Woman, Enya, Only Time, and simply read, If You Don't Know Me By Now. I've always liked this. Janice A. Burns from Sarah's Song, a true story of love and courage published by Warner, wrote, The trait I admired most growing up was my mother's unwavering loyalty to my father. To the world, they presented a consolidated whole, always each other's first priority, respectful of each other. As a child, I wanted to be the center of my parents' universe. But my parents were and are each other's universe. And we children remain merely sources of light that shine upon their special world. Only as an adult can I appreciate the fact that although loved, we were not chosen in the way my parents chose each other. Janice A. Burns from Sarah's Song. CHFI.com. Lovers and Other Strangers from CHFI.com. Neil Diamond with the story of my life, Luther, Dance with My Father, and 5 for Fighting with the Riddle. One final thought from The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom, published in '03 by Hyperion, the #1 New York Times bestseller. He and Marguerite are in heaven, she taking him through the doors of the vision of her eternity, from wedding to wedding. And again I quote, "The bride waits here," she said, running her hands along her hair, taking in an image but seeming to drift away. This is the moment you think about what you're doing, who you're choosing, who you will love. If it's right, Eddie, this can be such a wonderful moment. She turned to him. You had to live without love for many years, didn't you? Eddie said nothing. You felt that it was snatched away, that I left you too soon. He lowered himself slowly. Her lavender dress was spread before him. You did leave too soon, he said. You were angry with me. No. Her eyes flashed. Okay, yes. There was a reason to it all, she said. What reason, he said. How could there be a reason? You died. You were 47. You were the best person any of us knew. And you died and you lost everything. And I lost everything. I lost the only one I ever loved. She shook his hands. No, you didn't. I was right here. And you loved me anyway. Lost love is still love, Eddie. It takes a different form, that's all. You can't see their smile or bring them food or tousle their hair or move them around a dance floor. But when those senses weaken, another heightens. Memory. Memory becomes your partner. You nurture it. You hold it. You dance with it. Life has to end, she said. Love doesn't. Unquote. A very powerful book. No wonder it was the huge success it was. English writer Beverly Nichols wrote, "Marriage is a book of which the first chapter is written in poetry and the remaining chapters in prose." This program will continue to explore all the chapters. Lovers and Other Strangers and CHFI.com. Good night, sweet dreams. I'm Don Jackson.